And the question that I was asked was, if it's so clear from the facts that Israel is the right party here, and the Arabs are interested in genocide, why do so many people get it wrong? Interesting question, isn't it? There are people that we know, friends and family, who we respect, admire, consider bright, who are vehemently anti-Israel. Why? You ever asked yourself that? And the answer is, if you remember from computer programming, garbage in, garbage out. Remember that? For those of you that don't know, that means no matter how good your computer, if the information going in is wrong, you're going to have garbage information coming out. Same thing happens with opinions. If people have misinformation, garbage information coming in, their opinion is garbage. It's based on garbage. It's based on misinformation. So much of what people think is true about the Arab-Israeli conflict just ain't so. It's just completely untrue. And just like those evangelicals whose argument was to quote Ezekiel 11:17 or Genesis 15:17, it's just not going to hold water. What people say about Israeli occupation, Palestinians, remember, almost every single Israeli president and prime minister identified themselves and was identified by everyone else as a Palestinian. Why? Because before 1948, their birth certificates said Palestinian. Their passports said Palestinian. And if you don't believe that, research newspaper articles and scholarly papers. They were called Palestinians. And when you're doing that research, by the way, you may even find where the Arabs were adamant that there was no such thing as Palestinians. What Arabs? Joe Schmo? No. The official representatives of the Arabs to the Paris Peace Talks, to the Peel Commission, to the UN Partition Committee, they absolutely insisted that Palestine and Palestinians are Zionist trick words that were lies. So what about now? That's a damn good question. It's like Alice in the Wonderland, isn't it? How can they say, no, 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 yes, 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 yes? And people believe it. Why? Because it's repeated so often, people believe it. Joe Goebbels was right, wasn't he? You repeat a lie enough and people believe it. If everybody in this room says 1 and 1 is 5, it's still not 5. So that's why what we have to do, and coming back to this film, what we have to do, first you have to learn the facts. I don't mean the facts because Mike said so, or the facts because they say so in this movie, but facts that original sources state. Okay? There was no Palestinians. Do the people who consider themselves Palestinians today, and honestly, to their core believe they're Palestinians, a separate people, are they alive? No. No. There are people today who feel they are separate, who feel they are a separate and distinct people called Palestinians. But that doesn't give them the right, does it, to retroactively apply that to justify violence against Jews before the 60s? Think about it. It doesn't give anybody, it makes no sense. Okay. So what we have to do is to be able to learn some of these facts, some of these honest things, and realize that the Israelis in the state of Israel are not perfect. And when we hear, this is how we influence other people, when we hear people say the wrong thing, challenge them. You could be nice. Somebody says, that's an illegal settlement. And you're in a place where it's okay to speak. You say, excuse me, but nowhere in the world is a community of tens of thousands that's been in place for decades considered a settlement. Why only for the Jews? You get it? See, this is how you do it. And there's certain words. You know what the word duplicity means? Duplicity, like duplicate. There's like 4 terms, and it's a form of one of about 15 forms of lies. Not like different things that are lies, you know. And I don't mean the facts, but there's forms of lies if you look up what is a lie. One of them is duplicity. When most people say occupation, we and most others in general will mean Gaza and West Bank. Regardless of the facts, that's what most people think. The Arabs do not consider that the occupation. Duplicity, double meanings. They mean every square inch of Israel is occupied Islamic land. Now, they know that they have a different meaning than we do. Deception and duplicity is they allow us to consider that we think everybody means just the West Bank and Gaza. Okay? A second one is settlement. It was already alluded to when somebody mentioned that, I think Jerry mentioned this, when most people say settlements, they mean Jewish communities in the Gaza. West Bank, and everybody forgets about the Golan, but the West Bank. When the Arabs say settlements, every city, every town, every village in Israel is an illegal settlement on Arab Islamic land. This is what they mean, and their duplicity, their deception is to allow everybody to think that they think the same way. Okay? A third thing is peace. When we're speaking of peace, we're talking the absence of violence, the absence of incitement, and recognition, collaboration, and reconciliation, and forgiveness. That's what we mean. You have to realize, if you've studied the Koran, and I have, and I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't, because people would not believe it. It sounds almost bigoted to tell you what's in the Koran. And it's not like in the Bible where you're if you're a Moabite or an Edomite or one of those, right? Because those are very time specific to wipe those people out. In the Koran, it's eternal forever. It says kill the non-Muslims. It's eternal forever. Okay? So the peace that they're referring to is like Pax Romana, Roman peace, where there was peace throughout the Roman Empire because all the enemies were killed, subjugated, or ran off. Islamic peace, Arab peace, they want peace. They want peace when all opposition has been killed, ran off, or subdued. The fourth term is justice. We mean, when we say justice, and most of the West says justice, what we mean is set things right, the blind scale of justice, things are brought to even keel. Justice is making things even for past deeds, right? Like in legal justice. When they say justice, they mean, again, referring back to the Koran, justice is, it's only just that God, Allah, wants the supremacy of Islam everywhere. Justice is the supremacy and victory of Islam. Duplicity, and that's one of many things they get wrong. But what we have to do is to learn the different terms that they use that puts Israel in a bad light. And one thing we have to do, as Jerry said, is educate ourselves so that we know what not to say. There's choices in how you say things. Choose the way that doesn't help the Arabs. Choose the way that's the honest way, the truthful way, and have integrity. And just because everybody says something that's wrong doesn't make it true. Thanks very much. I'll work with people later.